Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come.
What up? We're back with episode 3. I can't believe it's been 3 weeks since we started the podcast. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. We finally got a name. April's finally out the way. That was the worst April I've ever had in my life. So fuck April. Come to May. Lockdown slowly easing, I think. We're excited to drop back in with a third episode. The sooner all of this is over, the sooner we can get into our studio. We've got quite a packed episode this week. We're going to continue where we left off, where we started last week with regards to some information about the NFL and how new people are wanting to learn about the sport and get into that. So I'm going to head off a segment there, and then we're going to move on to a few things as well. And we've finally got a name for the podcast, which we're really excited about. How excited is everyone?
Woo! Buzzing, man. Absolutely buzzing.
But yeah, we'll announce the winner at some point in the podcast. Obviously, it's not going to be at the start because you need to watch. So, yeah, and excitingly as well, we are now going to move uploading the audio onto Spotify, and we're working on iTunes as well. So,
big things coming.
Definitely. So if you don't want to watch our ugly mugs, that's absolutely fine. You can listen to us over on Spotify. I'll drop the links once this is uploaded, and then as soon as we're approved on iTunes as well, I'll drop them on there. But yeah, as I said, we're going to drop in with some more information and quick recap on QBs, which is over to our main man, Mr. Beaver.
How is everyone? Right, so yeah, picking up from where I was talking last week, QB. The best thing you can get from a quarterback is he's the general, he's the captain on that team. He's got to be looking at, he's trying to read the defense and what the defense are putting in front of him, and he's ultimately he will be picking which play is going to work best. He can adjust at the line, so basically his main job is to man manage, and he has to put the ball in positions where wide receivers, which we're going to talk about in a minute with Carl, can flourish really, and how they can win games. So over to Carl for wide receivers.
Yeah, so we the kind of itinerary that we're going to have over the next few weeks is because obviously it can be quite a daunting sport to get into, and it's really confusing. We're going to start off with a breakdown of positions. Obviously, we started with QB last week, moving on to wide receivers today, and then we'll go through the offense and the defense, and then probably move on to things like formations, that sort of thing, whatever anyone asks for. But we thought it's a good place to start to break down onto individual positions. So as Beef said, the QB is essentially the playmaker. So he's controlling everything, but to succeed and to flourish in that position, he obviously needs a couple of good wide receivers at least. I think mentioned it briefly last week, the best kind of comparison for people that are looking to compare it to English football, although it's difficult, are essentially your wingers. What they are is kind of a pass catching specialists per se. They're usually typically quite fast, tall, as most people are in the NFL, I'd say. And essentially their main job is to run routes and create separation and space from their opposition, which would usually be a cornerback or a safety. They're occasionally called on to kind of block as well, to make more running room for the running backs as well. But yeah, I mean, as I said, typically fast people, tall, and have to have a high IQ of the game as well. I don't know if there's anything that you want to jump in on there, Beeves, to kind of add on to that.
Yeah, the high IQs, it's one. I mean, if you listen to wide receivers talk, a lot of them are just like, yeah, just get me the ball. They can be known as they are a bit selfish, a bit prima donna. So they do sum up perfectly with a winger in today's modern football. The truth of it is, they are prima donnas. They are big times, and you'll see them. They'll be wearing all the gear. They'll be like, "Yo, give me that ball. We'll win the game. All he's got to do is get the ball to me. Give the ball to me." And they are selfish competitors, but their main aim is to get in the end zone and win the game. That's how you make a name for yourself. They are highlight reels. A lot of them are. I mean, there's so many times that, like, Odell Beckham is probably the best way to describe a prima donna, really. I mean, the guy does everything is about him, but in the end of the day, he's still trying to win and trying to get that ring. So it's important for them to have like an ego. I feel like egos are big in sports, and I feel like it suits the wide receiver. He's got to believe that he's going to beat the man across from him.
Absolutely. I mean, so in terms of what I've talked, said about separation and things like that. What the QB is going to be looking for is looking for them to get into a space and beat their man. And typically, obviously, they want to try and get 10 yards on every play. So, they're not repeating downs. They want to be getting those first downs as quick as possible. And a lot of them as well, as said, are prima donnas. So they might be perceived as just deep threat wide receivers. So they're just going to be trying to beat their man and get 70 yards down the field and looking for a one-handed catch, that sort of thing. They definitely are highlight reels. I mean, I think 3 of my favourites of all time will probably be Jerry Rice, Mike Evans, obviously because I'm a Bucks fan. And I'll probably go, to be fair, someone quite recent as well, probably Julio Jones, because he's another beast. But we didn't talk about this before, but I'm going to move on and ask each one of you who your top 3 wide receivers are as well of all time. So I'll start with Mr. Hales.
I'd probably say, because I've only really been looking at the sport in depth over the last probably 5 or 6 years, I'd have to stick it to that time, in which I'd probably say I think I'd agree with you on Julio Jones. Oh, no, I'm not choosing him.
Fair enough.
I think from what I've seen, I loved Percy Harvin when he was at Seahawks, because that's when and that's more of a like sentimental. That's when I first got into the Seahawks. He was the wide receiver for the Seahawks, so I watched him, and that was like I was learning that sort of wide receiver with him. So I'd say he's like one of my top ones. I absolutely love DK Metcalf. I think he will be a top receiver. You can all laugh.
No.
He is one of my favourites. And apart from that, I think going outside, Megatron's pretty good. He's up there. Or you've put me on the spot here, Carl. I don't like it.
Carl is proper throw you under the bus here.
I have to. It needs to be natural. So
yeah, no, it does. No, it does. You're right. I get it. Don't worry.
Pass the pressure. I understand.
Do you know what? I'm going Megatron, Percy Harvin, and Michael Thomas. I'm going Michael Thomas.
Okay.
I love watching him. He's got an absolute gun quarterback with him. And I think he is going to be consistently a very good top wide receiver.
I like it.
As long as he keeps playing, even with Jameis Winston, he'd still be a top 5 receiver in the league.
Like I said with the egos as well, with Michael Thomas, I mean, his Twitter handle is can't guard Mike. So
yeah. He comes across as quite quiet and refined in interviews and stuff, but he's a fucking proper prima donna, isn't he? Like, he loves it. He wants all the smoke.
All are, and like you both summed it up so perfectly by saying that they're a highlight reel. They literally are. Like if it's a big play, 9 times out of 10 they're involved, aren't they?
Yeah.
If it's a big play, it's normally a fucking Hail Mary pass or a deep pass where they've shook off a tackle, a cornerback, sorry. Tackle is in an actual tackle. And they've gone and ran 70 yards. Yeah. And that is the highlight reel, isn't it? If you click on YouTube, highlights of the game, the wide receivers are going to be in that video. So
absolutely,
yeah, perfectly summed up. That's what I'm trying to suggest. Well done, Carl. Congrats, mate.
Moving on to Mr. Shearing. How are we, by the way? I didn't introduce you all. I feel like it's been going on for so long now that everyone knows.
We're all good. Yeah, mate, all good. And thanks for not going for me first, because it's given me a chance to have a quick think there.
Yeah, why did I have to go first? Like, what's going on?
Because they'd already seen my ugly mug, mate, and they wanted to move on.
Sorry, whether they are in any particular order or not, I wouldn't say so, but for me, I would have been a Panthers fan. Steve Smith, nothing else needs to be said about him. I think he's class, or was even, when we first had him. I think we've been trying to strive to get that ilk of a receiver since he left us. Following him, I would probably say Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I was contemplating throwing him in, to be fair.
Yeah, because of his age and his durability. For someone to be able to go that long in the game and play at the level that he has, especially with the turnover of quarterbacks that Arizona have seen as well, he's just consistently performs. And finally, maybe controversial, but maybe not, I suppose. But for me, again, similar to Nick in terms of being in the game now for the last however many years it is, but I would probably say OBJ because of his because of how he plays. Again, what Nick says is spectacular catches, all that kind of thing. So he's someone I definitely resonated to when I was first kind of getting into the game. So Smith, Fitzgerald, and OBJ.
Cool. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with OBJ from maybe the first couple of years when we got into it. He's it's not been there last year and obviously the year before, but yeah. Understandable.
Bit of an oxymoron. Beaver saying he wants the Super Bowl and goes to the Browns. It's questionable.
Hey.
Very questionable.
He just wanted to get back with Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, he just wanted to go and play with Jarvis again.
Wanted to go see his boy, didn't he? And to be fair, we all looked at that offense last year and we go, they could win.
Yeah, we did. But they didn't.
And then the quarterback gets found out.
I think we all, I know I did. I know you did, Bees. I'm probably sure you and Liam did as well. Nick expected a lot more from Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. Playoffs minimum.
Yeah.
When you see the offense, you just... And do you know what? And I think the defense is quite underrated. The defense was quite underrated as well. I'm not saying it was really good, but it was an underrated defense.
Yeah.
So I think, they massively underachieved last year. Massively.
Eves, I'm going to call you out. Don't you tell me that you didn't expect more from him. You fucking loved him.
Oh, I didn't. No. See, this is where you got me wrong. What I love is Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is number 3 on my list for wide receivers. The geezer's a freak. He makes a whole lot of plays on the reg. And when I see him sign for a team and they've got Jarvis Landry one side and him the other, all I'm thinking to myself is, they're geared up. Baker Mayfield took the Browns from the worst team in the league, going 0-16 to 8-8. So you're looking for progression from. I was looking him to progress, and Baker Mayfield's got a bit of an ego, and I love somebody with a bit of an ego, a bit of a dickhead. You know what I mean? It probably sums me up, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, remind you of yourself.
Beaver just staring at a mirror right now. But Beaver, what I will say is that 8-8. Do you think that's down to Baker Mayfield? Do you think if there was another quarterback in there, they would have gone 8-8? Because I think they 100% do. I think there's probably a couple of quarterbacks that played last year that would have got in a worse, for instance. What I'm saying is 90% of the quarterbacks in the league would have got them probably to that or more.
The thing I'd say about Baker Mayfield, the thing is he's like he brought an attitude to Cleveland, like, and that's what he is. And then last year, I feel like he felt like he'd made it. He felt like he was already there. When instead of fighting for something, like, he didn't strive to the next level. Like, it's about hunger for me, and like I didn't see that from Baker last year. I seen he was getting upset when they were losing, but I never seen him getting hungry and wanting it more than everyone else. All I seen was him appearing in 65 million adverts. Like, instead of thinking you're a star, be a star. Like, fight for everything, and that's what I like. When he was at Oklahoma, because they weren't the biggest university, they weren't the big time. Everything he did was big time. Everything. And then that first year at the Browns, when he didn't have Odell Beckham in there, and it was about, he came in with this attitude of, I was the number one pick, I'm the guy. And then I feel like he lost that last year, so I feel like he stepped off, like, and I just feel like I'm interested to see what he does, because this, sophomore slumps happen. Todd Gurley had a down second year and then went off the next year, so I'm interested to see what happens with the Browns. I mean, I think they're trash, but I'm interested to see what happens, because I still think Odell Beckham will get traded before the season starts. But
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
but yeah, that's my thoughts on Baker Mayfield. I don't think he wants it. I don't think he's hungry enough. And then my other two receivers. Number 2, I'm going Terrell Owens.
Yeah,
This geezer's a freak.
yeah. I nearly put him just because he is the epitome of ego as well when it comes to wide receivers.
He played a Super Bowl against the Patriots with a broken leg and went for 135 yards. He had a broken leg.
I don't know what to say about that.
He had a broken leg. It was ridiculous, and like he was ego. He was like angry. He was always angry, but there was something about him that he was a dog on the field. Like, he wasn't going to be the reason you lost the game. And like I said, he played a Super Bowl with a broken leg and went 130 yards on us. It was ridiculous. I mean, they lost, but we're the Patriots at the end of the day.
So all that broken leg for nothing.
Yeah, he's not going to be the reason he lost the game. He went 135 yards. They had a broken leg, but they lost it. But yeah.
Yeah. But
Nice.
number one, right?
I reckon I can guess number 1.
Number 1's my biased option. Julian Edelman, 100%.
I thought that would be, yeah.
It was going to be him or Randy Moss.
Who's he played for again?
The New England Patriots, mate. Yeah. And he's still there as well before anybody says anything.
Not for long. Come on, Julian.
It's only
Come
because
down to
flights are
Tampa.
Jules for me is one of the highest intelligence football players there is on the field. Like, he was a guy who was a quarterback at college, got drafted, wasn't ever going to play quarterback for us. He's threw the ball a couple of times for us, but that was trick plays and everything like that. And then he's come into the game and he's learned his trade. He had to sit. He had to be patient. He was very much used as a special teamer at first. He played cornerback in his first Super Bowl. And then he moved to wide receiver and he's become a top 5 receiver in the league. He's so intelligent in his route running and how he fights so hard to win. Like, I love everything about him. He's like an underdog story, and I'm into that. And I think he's so good, and he's so good for our organisation. He sets a tone for what we want from players and youngsters and stuff like that. So it's good to see people like him and making big statements in big games. And his catch against Atlanta in the Super Bowl is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And that's just pure about will and determination. And he was marked up for that game, and he was telling people that we're not meant to be here. You're too old. We can't do this. Like, and on the sideline, you see him. He gets angry. He's not afraid to say how it is. Not afraid to yell at his quarterback. And for me, that just everything about him is why he's my number 1 receiver.
I think he's going to be massive for you this year because you've lost your ultimate leader in Brady, and I think he's going to arguably come into even more of his own now.
I'll just laugh at that.
It's because I'm sure Liam was doing that as a dick. Like,
oh, mate, there was no way that wasn't a dig. Like,
and if it wasn't, I'm taking it as an underhanded dig to you, and I'll laugh at it.
I was being
Definite underhand.
genuine and sincere there. Thank you very much.
No, you wasn't.
No,
That's why you said it with a
that's fine.
smile on your face.
Brilliant. Yeah, so recapping on that, just have a look at all of those players. We're going to drop some highlight reels as well after this segment, so you'll be able to have a look at some of them as well. Just
Keenum's going to try to work the ball on the boundary. Keenum steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it! See Marcus Williams here. He has a shot. I'm not sure really what he's thinking, Joe. He comes in, he's got him dialed in, and all he's got to do is make a play. And even if he catches it, you tackle him in bounds, the game is over. And I know Diggs, he's catching this. He's expecting somebody to hit him. And he turns around. Heck, nobody's there. And he's off to the races, and it's pandemonium. 61 brilliant yards for Stephon Diggs. And Case Keenum has just taken the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game in a game.
before quickly moving on to the next segment, Jameis Winston to Michael Thomas, what are we saying? I know Nick's interested.
Unreal.
He's right. Like, you're just one of those people that just hates on Jameis for no reason. Like, there's a condition for that called AIDS.
Beaver, you wouldn't hate him if he was thrown to Edelman, would you?
Yeah, you have AIDS,
Well,
Beaver.
he wouldn't. Number one, he wouldn't throw to Edelman. He'd throw to the linebacker or the cornerback. He ain't going to throw it to one of his own receivers. That's not what he does. However, though, I did find it
Beaver,
funny. Do you know what it is?
You've got so much hate. Release
The
it. Let it
the
go.
guy recently came out and said he can now read road signs.
Yeah, he's had LASIK
Since
surgery.
he's-
All right.
Surgery.
Good surgeon, mate.
Although
Surgeon.
I will say this, I think that surgery is going to make him worse.
Yeah, it's hype. He's hyped himself up now,
Yeah.
hasn't
Not just that. I would think you got to think if he genuinely couldn't see and everything was blurry, and he had no depth perception, so he didn't actually know people were coming at him. He didn't know anyone was coming at him. Now when he actually sees people coming at him, he's going to shit himself and still miss even worse, I think. He's going to be like, oh my God, all these people are coming at me. And I think he's just going to fucking crumble.
So,
Absolutely.
Carl, what you saying, Carl? I mean, he ain't got further to fall, mate. Him and Andy
don't
Dalton,
know, mate.
they're the bottom rung of the league, mate. They're the trash of the league. They are.
Yeah, there's a reason that Jameis was going to Canada before he went to the Saints. But no.
Saints aren't
you know-
stupid. Saints
they're
are
not.
not stupid, and I'm not giving into that theory that you had last week, Beaver, that he's only gone in there to boost the morale of the defence. he's gone there to do a bloody job.
Yeah, I can't
I'll have
believe
a
I've
bet.
actually got on board
Yeah.
with all this about dissing Jameis Winston. I'm actually doing it myself. It's a fucking disgrace. He's a
Because
hero.
you've seen
Man's a hero.
TB12 in the building. That's what it is. TB12's now in your building. That's why you ain't bothered about Jameis no more.
I do think it's a disgrace at the amount he's getting paid, though, because he's getting paid less than the rookies now. I think
Who
he's
is?
officially the lowest paid QB in the NFL, I believe.
Who, Jameis?
Yeah.
Mate, him and Andy Dalton, they should share a salary.
Mate, he's getting paid less than Andy Dalton.
Mate, him and Andy Dalton should be 50-50 in a salary because that's all they're worth. And they're lucky to have contracts.
Get off this podcast. You're not involved. Heck.
Until you start throwing some respect on Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Don't
Put some
return.
respect.
Hey, to be fair, if I stand here now, Jameis might throw the ball to me.
Fucking, you'll miss. You'll hit that Spider-Man picture in the back.
Good.
I can't believe how much hate is on Jameis Winston right now.
I love him, mate.
I love him too.
Liam, stay out of this.
Carl, just out of interest, how many games last year did the first throw of the game go for an interception?
There was at least 3.
Just a 3.
2 consecutive in one game.
Yeah, but was the second thrown interception? Because if not, that shows growth.
In the one game,
No,
actually, it was, yeah.
In the game we're talking about, it was.
Oh, yeah.
And mean, you can try and defend him all you want, but right now he's a backup quarterback, and actually technically he's third.
I am not sitting here defending him. I'm just saying. Carl's
I'm on
question
about Carl.
was
I'm on about
Winston
Carl.
to Thomas. Thomas gets points. Thomas gets points. He gets touchdowns. He gets yards.
Which cornerback is Thomas?
Oh,
Right, you've hurt my feelings. We'll move on. Forgive me. I believe we're moving on to quarterbacks and wide receiver duos. Yeah, and are we starting with last year?
yeah, mate.
Duo?
Yeah, mate. I believe. Well, we've seen. We've been seeing online. People have been putting on their QB wide receiver duos that they're looking forward to seeing this coming season. So we've decided to put two lists together. The first is our top 10 of quarterback wide receiver duos returning from last season, and we'll then lead into our top 5 new QB wide receiver duos. So to kickstart our QB wide receiver duos from last year in reverse order anyway. So starting from number 10, we have Drew Lock and Cortland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. So I'll hand over to you guys to explain or justify our reason for number 10.
I liked what I saw from Drew Lock last year, and Cortland Sutton, like everyone, because everyone left, he was like, well, this is my team now, watch. And him and Drew Lock just seemed to form that connection straight away. And all of a sudden, the offense sort of sprung to life. And I thought the Broncos were going to be a pretty poor team last year. Don't get me wrong, they weren't great, but they were better than they were the previous year. And I think that's a thing you got to look at with a young quarterback. And he only came in partway through the season as well. And for him to take on the mantle like he did and to go at it like he did, it was really impressive. And I was really impressed to see how 2 youngsters started to take over the game, and it was good to see. And now they've stacked him up with stacked receivers around him. I'm looking forward to seeing how, going into this next season, how they're going to spark. Brilliant. Because I feel like that could be big time.
Yeah, I think.
I think he went really underrated, didn't he? Sorry, Carl.
No,
I think he went really under the radar last year of just how good he was, really. Like, say, for quite a depleted team, I think hats off to him.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it was the Denver game, wasn't it? And they kind of kicked on from the Denver game, where they both just took over.
They played for Denver,
mate.
No, Denver game against
the
Lions. Sorry, no.
The Lions game
against Detroit around Christmas, and just took on from there. So
yeah, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, which probably you look at and think probably
And for
more than that.
And for Luck, take over from Flacco, wasn't it, as well? Who
Wacko
Flacco, and to do what they did, like as Nick just said, I think it's very commendable, and it is definitely something that we are looking forward to seeing next year. So number 9, we have gone with contentious, maybe some would argue, but Dak and Amari Cooper at number 9.
I'll see now. Dak's an idiot. He thinks 35 million is not enough to support his family. I'm just gonna put that back out there because I'm still offended by that. But in fairness to Dak, he found a rhythm with Amari Cooper. There was games where him and Amari Cooper. I think it was the Thanksgiving game where him and Amari Cooper just went off. And Dallas, they just found a way to win. And Amari coming across from Oakland, where he'd been in a bad franchise, but he came in and he was like, Dallas is probably the biggest team in America. They're ridiculous. The stadium's ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Their owner's ridiculous. And Amari Cooper he's a top receiver. His hands are unbelievable. His route running's unbelievable. He's got great speed. And he's a game winner. I'm not sure about Dak. I never have been. But going off last year, Dak played well. And the year before, Dak's growing. I'm interested to see what they're going to do, even whether they're going to sign him to a massive deal, because obviously the franchise tagged him this year. But for me, Dak and Amari Cooper deserve their spot on this list.
I disagree, but hey ho.
Anything, anybody else?
Not so much with Amari Cooper. I just Dak for me. Like, I think he's a shit quarterback to be honest.
Say it like it is, Carl. Say it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be one to sit here and give you loads and loads of stats, but as far as his fantasy performance for me last year, he was fucking pipe. So I'm not with him.
So bitter. Such a bitter human being about fantasy. Who else don't you like going into this year, Carl? Who else is in your fantasy team?
We'll get to him in a bit, I think. So, number 8, one I am definitely intrigued by is Ben Roethlisberger and Juju Smith-Schuster. And if you guys don't mind, I'm kind of just going to go with this. Because, obviously, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, Big Ben Roethlisberger, he missed the majority of last season. He got placed on injured reserve, so he missed the majority of the season. However, the year before, which I believe was Smith-Schuster's rookie year, I think it was. Yeah. Those two really, really connected well. Admittedly, Smith-Schuster had another wide receiver there to help support him, but still, it'll be interesting to see now those two have a full season together and see if they can really replicate their chemistry and their form from 2 years ago. So that's why I have them at number 8. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think of that partnership anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think under the circumstances that Juju was playing under last year, I don't think he had a bad season. It's just, it was never going to go well, was it? Losing
quarterbacks who was playing, weren't it?
Losing
and, Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph, yeah. There was absolutely no consistency with what the Steelers were really doing last year, was there? Apart from defensively, they were sound as probably what they ever are. But on the offense, I think, like I say, losing Brown, then losing your biggest gun in the team in Roethlisberger, it was never going to be a successful season for him. And I think under the given circumstances, I'm letting him off for doing piss poor for my fantasy. Unlike Carl holding a grudge.
Do you know, honestly, I think Juju, I think he's got potential. I'm interested to see how he is as a number one. Obviously, we liked his quarterback last year. Look, you can't really judge on that. Yeah. But when we get a chance to see him this year,
being wide receiver one, it's going to be the.
I'm interested to see, because at the end of the day, he's going to be double teamed, and it's all about how he comes through that double team. So I'm interested. I'm excited for Juju, and I hope he can, because I was really high on Juju when he after his rookie season. Whether he's going to be a number one is another question, because he was working as a number 2 his rookie year. But I'm interested to see what he can do.
I guess putting that and bringing that back to how we started the podcast, it's essentially Juju's gone from having someone who is one of the best wide receivers in the game with him. So defensively, he gets covered and Juju gets open a lot, to then go into that in position where Juju is the main threat on the wide receiver. So that's that comparison of why that's interesting, I guess, to people that are quite new to the sport anyway.
So at number 7, we have gone for Stafford and Golladay. I know Beeves and Nick have both had their say on that one as to why they liked that particular pick anyway. So, guys.
Well, I wasn't a big lover of Kenny Golladay, I'm not going to lie to you. I had Marvin Jones in my fantasy team. And if Matt Stafford wants to throw it to Marvin Jones as well, look, I'll be fine with it. Now, Kenny Golladay's a beast, man. It was his rookie year, and he was last year, and he makes a statement. He's been exceptional. And the truth is that, for me, Matt Stafford gets paid a lot of money. He's a little bit overrated. He's got such a great arm, and he's tough as hell. Like, he had a broken bone in his back last year for 6 games, and he played in all 6 games. And then he went on to the injured reserve list because he just kept getting beat up. The Lions aren't a great team, but Kenny Golladay is special. And Matt Stafford's got a great arm. And on a rebuild, so it's difficult. But for me, Golladay is going to be a top receiver in the league for years to come. But Matt Stafford, please throw the ball to Marvin Jones, please, next year.
Yeah, I think lines of I as you boys, well, probably boy know, I love Kerryon Johnson. I think they've got a good running game, and like you say, with the actual receiving core that they've got, for him to another year over 1,000 yards, it's like the stats speak for themselves, don't they? That's basically it. And he, in terms of a wide receiver, he was probably a top 10 wide receiver last year, statistically, probably, without looking.
Yeah.
If he's not top 10, he's definitely top 15. Yeah. He's there or thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's growing. Like Beaver said, he's only been in the NFL a couple of years. He's growing. So it's interesting.
So number 6 has been a point of controversy amongst all 4 of us. But we have Matty Ryan and Julio Jones at number 6. Who should I let take this? I think Nick should take this first. Why is this a good pick, Nick?
Because Julio Jones is a very, very good wide receiver. And that's it. I've got nothing else to say. I don't rate Matt Ryan at all. I've seen him live. He seems, and I'm not a Falcons fan. I keep an eye on Falcons because I've been to Atlanta. I've been to the Georgia Dome. So I keep an eye on him. Whenever I see him, and my best mate's a Falcons fan, yeah. Whenever I see him, it looks like when they're under any sort of pressure in a game, he just crumbles. And I don't know whether I'm completely speaking out of turn here, and there's probably loads of Falcons fans which absolutely love it. But whenever I see him, I just think, what are you doing? I've seen so many games, and Beaver, we pretty much every Sunday you're around my house, we're watching NFL. The amount of times you see Julio Jones free.
I've never been invited.
Nor me, mate. Don't worry.
Anyone that's listening, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Whenever you'll see Julio Jones in acres of space, and he will try and throw it to Austin Hooper that's probably in double coverage.
I mean, that sums up my fantasy life, mate, to be honest. I think Julio Jones had 2 touchdowns last year.
That's it. You can't and put him in any other team and they will try and throw it to him. And I just think that, considering how good he is, and he is in the league at the minute, he's probably a top 3 receiver.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue it. He's a top 3 receiver.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at Nick was like, it looked like he was struggling to get that out.
Yeah. Ooh. People are going to disagree with that. So, I mean, how can you not throw to him? Honestly, I watched games. I was just like, why aren't you throwing to your best receiver?
So would you say then that number 6 should be reserved for Julio Jones and insert quarterback here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Insert name
I ain't having that. I'm not having that, man. I am not having that. I'm not having that. There ain't a quarterback that can just walk into a side and instantly make them, well, other than TB12, but we'll get onto it. I think you're downplaying how good Matt Ryan actually is. Like, the geezer can throw the ball. He's brilliant.
I think
he does make that mistake.
Was.
Yeah. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl a few years back.
And look what happened
2-3 years ago.
Yeah, they did exactly what he said.
Matt Ryan.
Matty Ice, my fucking arsehole.
Matt Ryan had the perfect QB rating, I'm just saying.
Was he frozen in the Super Bowl? That's what it is, Carl.
Mate, he wasn't ice, was he?
He
wasn't.
I mean, I wouldn't put it on Matt Ryan, but...
Right, number 5, again...
I think the Patriots just played too well.
Another controversial one at number 5.
Another one.
We have a quarterback we all unanimously love, let's be honest, and Russell Wilson. and Tyler Lockett.
Wait,
Carl?
did you call this controversial?
The only controversy here is the fact that it's not higher. That's the controversy here.
No, Nick, that's not the controversy. It's the fact that Liam said it was controversial that they were in it.
That's disgusting.
No, Russ should be on it.
That's a revolting thing you've just said to people.
Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's unbelievable. I think he's absolutely ridiculous. And Tyler Lockett, the speed, his route running, seems to always be open as well. Like, the guy is always open. I mean, it's because Russell's... I mainly think he's open because Russell's ran around for 10 seconds and somebody's trying to catch him, and then all of a sudden Tyler Lockett's open. Like, but nah, as a pairing, they've been superb for last year, especially, and I'm eager to see them go again this year.
Yeah,
and see whether they can take it to the next level. Especially with DK being there as well, I'm interested to see where they can go.
Yeah,
and where they can take the offense.
100%. I like Tyler Lockett a lot. Again, he was in my fantasy, and he didn't actually get me that many touchdowns when I had him, so I tried him to Liam, but I still really, really like him.
I'm pretty sure he went off then.
Every time you started him, he did nothing. Every time you benched him, he went off.
He didn't score touchdowns, but his receptions were high, and he was always getting yards. So I like him a lot, and I think, like you said, we all love Russell Wilson, but the fact that DK put his name in the fucking hat last year as well, I can't wait to see all three of them. To be fair, I'm going to be following Seahawks a lot more this year than I have done over the past few years. Definitely.
I think there's a theme here, though, Carl. You pick trash players for your fantasy.
There's nothing trash about Tyler Lockett.
No, my wide receiving coach was Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans,
Did you get to the
Chris
final?
Godwin.
Where'd you even come?
Semis? Something like that?
I don't even think you made that, mate.
Huh?
I was winning it. I was busy.
I don't, Matt. Shut your mouth.
Moving on, anyway. Number 4, Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. Solid choice, I think.
Genuinely, I love this pairing. And I think Kirk Cousins he gets abused left, right and centre. And they always say, we can't get it done here. He has a terrible record on Monday Night Football. I ain't going to lie to you, it's terrible. However, though, to walk into the Dome against the Saints last year, put a whopping on them. And it was a whopping. Like, the game looked close, but realistically, they walked in and took over the game. They were like, this is me. All that. And Kirk Cousins was sensational in that game. And Thielen is the geezer. I mean, I think he went 8 games on the spin with 10 or more receptions. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
He equaled the record, didn't he, in the end?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That is. No, he didn't beat, but that's still ridiculous.
And for me, what adds to him is the fact that he went undrafted as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of the NFL.
And do that, I think that's class. No hype around him coming into it, and now look at him.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think that's a great pairing order. And again, now Diggs is out of town. Thielen's going to have more pressure on him.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing, because I have to watch them because my missus supports them. But the only thing that worries me about it is the fact that Diggs is gone. Thielen's going to see a lot more double coverage. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, adding Justin Jefferson in there, in the draft is big, and hopefully he can be a big player for him. But yeah, I am interested to see them again next year. And I think that they only ever seem to be, the thing with the Vikings is they always seem to be like a player away. And this year, I'm looking at it and I'm still thinking to myself, they're a player away, but I'm not sure where the player is that's missing. So I'm interested to see how they go this year. And I think the NFC is ridiculous. I think it's tough. And I think the talent in the NFC is a joke.
Yeah.
Number 3, we have Carl's favourite player in Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Sorry, Carl.
No, that's fine.
Take it away, Carl.
No, you guys start. I'll just come in whenever you say he's good.
Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of the ball in the NFL.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Not, mate. No, he's not.
100%.
So he's got what? a Super Bowl ring, couple of MVPs. Mate, his plan B is to throw the ball 80 yards to nobody.
Yeah.
He
As
might
it
have
should be.
he might have a good arm in the sense that he can throw the ball for 80 yards, but it's to nobody.
No,
He used
what
to
it,
be
what you
one
got to
of the
look, you
best
got to look at
quarterbacks.
Aaron
He
Rodgers,
isn't anymore.
and Aaron Rodgers is exceptional.
No,
And
not having it.
like, I think he's only ever threw a touchdown to one first round pick of a wide receiver. But Devontae Adams is a baller, proper big time baller. After Jordy Nelson got injured and they let him go, for Devontae Adams to step up the way he did, he's unbelievable. He's always open, always in the end zone as well.
Yeah,
Always
which
scores
makes-
relentlessly.
Yeah, and that makes Rodgers' job easier. What does he do if Devontae's not there? Who's he throwing to? The fans.
Yeah.
Genuine. The
Oh,
reason
God.
that they utilised their run game so much last year, I think, as well, is because they know he's in decline massively. He's regressing, mate. I'm not having it. Overrated in the last few years. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, there was a point where he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not anymore. He's not anymore.
No.
You sound like now an Aston Villa fan who
Oh,
goes on
God.
about winning the European Championships. That's you. Or now a Man United fan. Like, it's over. The Rodgers era is over, mate. He's done. He's done. And anyone can come back and have a go at me if he fucking goes off this year. That's fine. But he's not going to.
He'll go off this year.
No, he won't.
I think he will because he's got a point to prove now.
You're
That
both wrong.
Oh, brilliant.
No, I'm jump it. Actually, say what you got to say. It's fine. I've got it off my chest now.
Have
Yeah,
you?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm done.
Do a segment next week just on Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Carl's hatred even towards him.
Might be it.
Right.
He was in
Number
my fantasy.
two.
Just saying.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Oh, was it another one in your fantasy, Carl? All right.
Yeah.
Not the reason.
There's a running theme here. There's a theme here.
Yeah, but
Carl hates people.
It makes me look into them more in more depth and more detail. That's all it is.
Yeah. Carl, I'm just saying, you picked him.
Yeah,
You picked him early.
I did. And then I've seen that he's regressed. He's never ever getting picked again.
Bet you pick him this year.
No, I won't. Picking Jameis Winston.
Tried your hardest to get him from me last year.
I know it did. It worked out as well when I got him, didn't it? Did I get him? I don't know.
I don't think you did. I can't remember. Maybe. I don't know. But
Anyway, I'm sorry for going
anyway,
on a tangent.
number two is unanimous. Number one and number two, I think you could put them either. Personally, in my opinion, you could put them either way around. But in this particular instance, we've all agreed that number two is Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill.
I only agreed because they won a Super Bowl.
Come on, Beaver.
Oh, come on.
Come on, give him some credit.
That is such a Pats thing to say.
100% that is right.
Only Pats fans.
100%.
Oh,
Oh, it's Man United hating on Man City, isn't it?
No. It's me being a dominant team in the AFC and not wanting to give up the mantle to any other AFC team. Why don't you get off my case and accept the fact I don't like Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City, and I don't like Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens. Leave it at that.
Wow.
I feel like there's a lot of anger coming out on this podcast, isn't there?
Look, it's been a tough couple of weeks. We've lost Brady. We're not sure where we are as a team. I
Look,
still
mate,
believe in Bill.
I've told you there's plenty of Bucks merch here, mate. I've got anything you want. Just join the rest of your fans. They're all coming over anyway.
Just burn it, Carl. Just burn it. It's probably better.
Actually, yeah, do burn your Winston jersey. That would be hilarious.
No, that's no need. Get in front.
I'd burn your Winston jersey. I'd burn your Winston jersey.
Let's get back to the point. Mahomes.
Edit. Mahomes and Hill.
I'm not talking about this one.
Fine. I'll talk about it. Nick will talk about it. And Liam will talk about it.
Yep.
Go on then.
Tyreek Hill, the
Mahomes.
cheater.
Mahomes is an absolute baller. You can't deny it. He's an absolute gunslinger. Like, he looks class. And he's what? 20? What's he, 26?
Not even that, is it?
Don't think he's that now. 25, 24, 25.
Yeah.
And he was, as much as you dislike it, Beaver, he was crucial to why they were so successful last year. And Tyreek Hill is probably one of the quickest wide receivers.
He's 24.
24.
24, Beavs, and he's just won the Super
let
Bowl.
Let that settle in, Beaver.
Yeah, I'm 29 and I haven't won a Super Bowl. Get off my case.
And I mean, Hill is just there. He's just good, and he's class.
He's called the cheater for a reason, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
There isn't a DB in the league that can cover him. There's not a DB in the league that can cover him.
I don't think there's a wide receiver in almost history that runs as quick as he does and has the ball handling skills that he does, to be fair. Because usually,
and he's really quite small as well.
Yeah.
He's tiny, isn't
he? You usually find someone with that pace kind of loses out on something else, like they won't have the ball handling skills, but he's like the full package, isn't he, to be fair?
I mean, on Mahomes, he seems to do everything. He's got the arm, he can escape, he can scramble, he can run, he can pass under pressure, he can fit it in gaps. I mean, like Nick just said, he can do anything and everything.
Yeah, I'll revert back to what we said last week. Me and you were talking about it, Liam. We thought he was going to regress from the year before. First four games, 100%. I think it was 360 yards, 420 yards, 450 yards, 430 yards, 24. Then he won the Super Bowl.
I think he's a hyped up Joe Burrows, but you know.
Oh,
Jesus. Put the claws away.
God, what's wrong? What's wrong? What have you done today?
Wow.
Who's rattled you, Beaver?
Are you struggling
to try and put Joe Burrows with him? Oh my, that's disgusting.
People know our views on Joe Burrows now.
No, but he's like, you've got to look at that team, man. He's stacked with weapons. Stacked.
Yeah, but look at Baker Mayfield. They're in the same position.
That's true.
He doesn't fuck all.
Mate, look at our offense was unreal. We're shit.
Yeah, but your QB was crap.
Well, that's the point.
Exactly.
That's the point.
That's the point I'm making.
No.
If we had Patrick Mahomes, we would have won the Super Bowl.
No, you wouldn't have.
Yeah, we would.
You'd have been there or thereabouts.
Definitely.
Playoffs, yeah. I can't say because
Beaver, just out of interest then, because clearly
there's
there's some underlying issue here that you've got with Patrick Mahomes. But where do you rank him in top quarterbacks in the NFL?
At current moment, he'd probably be top 5.
Probably.
Who's above him?
Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Mahomes would probably be 4. I'll probably miss somebody there.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Even I'm
based on
thinking
last season.
Oh, you're wrong, man.
What do you mean? One won the Super Bowl and one threw it to his fans all year. Where am I wrong?
Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl with a worse offense, so we're putting Garoppolo in there as a top 4.
I like Garoppolo. Garoppolo's a good quarterback.
Garoppolo's not that good.
You should never have got rid of him.
Should have got no. Believe me, we traded him at the right time.
Mate, now you've got who
Garoppolo wasn't throwing 400 yards every game.
You didn't need to.
No, he wasn't. No.
That's it. He didn't need to, did he?
Their offense was built around running.
I'm confused right now, Beaver. Why you? Oh God, yeah.
I think on that note, I think we need to
come back by that.
I think we need to move on to number 1.
I'm not sure we should. I don't
feel like we're done.
He's just going to repeat everything he's just said, but switch out Patrick Mahomes for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. How can we edit?
Lamar Jackson is not in the
even more.
This is what I mean.
Lamar Jackson. It's because he's not a thrower of the ball. He just runs.
Oh,
and when he gets lit up and gets hurt, like what happened to Cam Newton.
Hey. Don't bring it.
Like what? Hey, all he does is run, man. And when he gets hurt, when he gets lit up, when he gets lit up, then we'll see what happens, won't we? But and also Lamar Jackson can't win playoff games. He's had 2 in his own backyard and got beat twice.
Again, he's like 24.
He's not.
Yeah.
Jackson's like what 22, ain't he?
I'm not sure personally.
If that.
I thought he was like 23. Right? He was
Jackson.
2 years ago. 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Jackson, he's 0-2 in his own backyard in playoff games. I'm just going to leave that with you.
Sorry, 23.
But you got to think of the age. Who's he throwing it to?
You lot were saying how good his wide receivers were.
I never said how good his wide receivers was. I just said if you're going to put Lamar Jackson in, it's got to be Marquise Brown. And Lamar Jackson can throw a ball.
He scored on Miami, mate. That's all I'm going to give you.
Oh, Beaver, he got the MVP of the league.
For
He's
running.
telling me he did one game out of 16. No.
He got the MVP of the league for running.
I've got to move on. I've got to
his
move
whole
on.
lot of players were running players, not throwing.
I love Lamar Jackson, and
I feel like we've got more questions out of that last 5 minutes than we have answers.
Number one.
So who's number one, Liam?
Number one, Breeze and Michael Thomas.
Absolutely. Guaranteed now.
I think we did all agree on that.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, because you can't guard Mike.
No, we did.
Yeah, because you can't guard Mike.
No, I was just playing devil's advocate.
Well, that was a short segment for number one, wasn't it?
No. Okay. Yeah.
Right, back to number two.
I've got nothing but positive things to say about that partnership, to be fair, and it fucking hurts me to say it, but
yeah.
Drew Brees.
As a Tampa fan, it is painful to see a Saints duo at number one, but you can't argue with it.
No.
Drew Brees he's one of the goats of the game. Michael Thomas already just discussed him. You can't guard Mike. So
I will say this though: Drew Brees needs to add another Super Bowl ring before he retires.
Jameis is going to get it for it.
Oh God!
Oh, imagine that.
Beaver. Are you still here?
Quit. Beaver will quit this podcast if that happens.
Jesus Lord, he ain't seen that far ahead. Like,
there is a possibility Breeze can get injured though.
There is a possibility, yeah.
And he can do Teddy Bridgewater.
The Saints won't win then. No.
What did Breeze do last year? It was a broken finger or something like that last year.
Broken finger.
In his hand, wasn't it? Yeah.
How long was he out for in the end?
6 games.
I was going to say it felt like forever.
Yeah, they went 6-0, mate. I'm just saying. Big Teddy got it done. Yeah, Big Teddy got it done, mate.
But was that to do with Teddy?
No. That's why you know. No, mate. Sean Payton is a genius.
Yeah.
The guy's a genius. And that's why that Taysom Hill's... Oh, Carl. All right, mate. Mate, every team needs a third quarterback.
Yeah, there's no need for that, mate.
We've only just got one, let alone three.
Is it like...
It was only 2 years ago they had Kamara and Ingram, by the way, the Saints. Yeah. They had both.
Oh, that's mad. I can't believe they let Ingram go. Because that partnership was class, though. It was class.
No, it was ready for Kamara to step up as a running back one on his own, didn't they?
Yeah.
They brought in Latavius Murray, wasn't it?
Latavius,
yeah.
He's a nice little change-up back as well.
Good pickup, yeah.
He is, yeah. 100% agree. So that's our top 10. So just to quickly summarise, we've got Drew Luck and Cortland Sutton at 10, Dak and Amari Cooper at 9, Roethlisberger and Smith-Schuster at 8, Stafford and Golladay at 7, Matty Ice and Julio Jones at 6, Russ Wilson and Tyler Lockett at 5, Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen at 4, number 3, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Number 2, my homeboy and Hill.
Let's go, my homeboy.
Breeze and Thomas. So we're going to lead on with Nick now, and he's going to go through our top 5 new wide receiver quarterback duos that we're looking forward to seeing this year. So, Nick, I'll let you take it away from number 5, mate.
So, like the new partnerships that we see going into the 2020 season, we've got number 5, which I agree with the team. I disagree with the quarterback in question, would be Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Would like to take it away because I think that it will be Jake Fromm.
I think I agree with you. I want it to be Jake Fromm as well.
I think you're both mad because what you got to look at is Josh Allen won 10 games last year and made the playoffs. They pushed the Texans in their own building to as far as they could. They were unlucky. It took a bit of magic from Deshaun Watson for them to really step up. And I think Stephon Diggs leaving the Vikings, he's a big-time player. He wants to be a number one receiver, and I think that's what caused the problems in Minnesota. Was Adam Thielen was their number one guy, and Diggs wants to be a number one guy. So I feel like Diggs in a new home, in a new offense, with a quarterback who's been looking for a wide receiver, I'm interested to see how they go together and how it works. And hopefully, like for my sake, they're trash, but I can see them actually being good. They've got a good defense there, and their offense is probably their weak link. So Diggs is a big part of like making them better.
I think it'll take pressure off Josh Allen having to scramble and rush all the time, which he did a lot of last year, I think. Don't get me wrong, he has got weapons below his waist with his legs. So, but still, I think Diggs will help stretch that field, and certainly when it comes to possibly your play action passes and that kind of thing. That's why I think it is a good partnership to look forward to next year.
Yeah, I agree. I'm massively hot on Stephon Diggs, to be fair. I think he's the epitome of, like you said, he wants to be a number one wide receiver. He wasn't at the Vikings, and he has the potential to be a massive highlight reel. And I'm more interested to see how he would improve Josh Allen's game than Josh Allen would improve Stephon Diggs' game. So I'm more hot on seeing Diggs, but as a duo, yeah, I'm excited to see it, definitely. I prefer Jack Fromm.
Yeah, none of you have sold me. I think you've got one of the most consistent quarterbacks going from college going to arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL.
But AJ McCarron was a big-time quarterback in college football, had one of the best win percentages, won 2 rings, and just came in the league as a backup. Like he wasn't able to convert. And my worry is that Jack Fromm could be the same. He's been behind that Georgia O-line, and them Georgia backs have been there. So I'm interested to see whether Jack Fromm can. I don't think he'll be able to take Josh Allen's job, to be totally honest. But
I'm not sure, man. I think like his mindset is his biggest strength. I genuinely think if he sees an opportunity to beat out Josh Allen, I think he's got the mindset to do it. I really do.
Yeah,
that's why I'm interested to see what will happen. So.
Yeah. So going on to number 4, we've gone for Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. You want to take that
this one for me is the one I'm looking forward to the most. I think Justin Herbert should have. To his injuries, and I mean, we all know how Nick feels about Joe Burrow. I'm on the same bandwagon with Nick, to be honest. But for me, Justin Herbert was if not the top quarterback coming out in the draft. That Oregon team, they didn't really have weapons, and he made them play so well. And he was excellent for the whole time he was at Oregon. And for me, he's walking into an offense that's been done over by turnovers, I feel. And I feel like Phillip Rivers moving has proper opened up the door for them to push further in the playoffs. And actually, for me, the Chargers are, I think they're going to be good. I actually think they're going to be really good. They've got a very good defense. They've got offensive weapons. And Keenan Allen, he's absolutely outstanding. I know you're a lover of his, Nick. For me, they're a partnership. And hopefully they can get themselves in some work and they can get to it. And I think Justin Herbert will be a successful quarterback in the league. And I think the Chargers will profit from the fact they moved on from Phillip Rivers. And I feel like he can push them towards the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the thing with the Chargers is they've got Mike Williams, who's that sort of deep threat. And then they've got Allen, which is just genuinely just a very good wide receiver. I don't think any of us don't think that he's not. Yeah, and I just think that Herbert to have both of those options, and that's just 2 players. I think
he is in a good position, only Herbert, but with Allen, he can go up. He's a good possession catcher as well. I think, kind of, how some quarterbacks would use their tight end as their security valve. I see Allen in that kind of mold still, but with the physique and the build and the extra more go ability, so to speak, as a wide receiver, which is why I think he's such a multiple threat on so many different kind of assets and so on. So I really, like you two just said, I am really high on Keenan Allen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The Chargers team is always quite balanced, isn't it? Don't you think? The Chargers they're always a balanced team.
Yeah.
And what you said, Beaver, about
they never need many positions to fill.
That's it, yeah. And you always sort of go into the season thinking they have a couple of players shy of being up there, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then they get a couple of players, and we're saying the same thing at the end of the year. They're always going to be that team, I feel, aren't they?
It's like they'll lose the games they should win by like a couple of points or something like that.
I think that a lot of that, though, if you look at the games they lost last year when they were losing by like, they're one of the teams like they lose by like 3 points or less in like ridiculous games, and like the kicker will miss one from like 20 yards, and you'll be like,
yeah, that's
is this for real?
Isn't it, I think
It's one of them, isn't it, where they're almost beating themselves at
Yeah.
because I think their defense is class. Like I think their defense kept them in so many games last year, and something wasn't clicking for them on offense last year. But a lot of them have returned with a few additions. Hence, obviously, these two making the list now. But I think they're really close to being a solid team.
I think the big thing is that Herbert's not going to turn the ball over. I think that'll be the biggest thing, is Herbert won't just recklessly turn the ball over. Phillip Rivers will try anything to win a game. But
I think
for me,
them not having the distraction of the whole Melvin Gordon thing going on as well.
Yeah.
As much as they probably claim that it wasn't a distraction,
Of course
it probably was.
Yeah, of course,
You know
definitely.
what I mean? And now they can run with Eckler and what's his face who they picked up in the draft. They know from the season beginning who they've got as their running back duo. Or if they're going 1 and 2 by committee, that kind of thing, or not. I think they'll be they'll be much more improved this year than last year.
Yeah, 100%. So moving on to the third, we've gone for Tua and Devontae Parker. Take it away.
why didn't you say Tua surname, Nick?
Because, to be quite honest, I can't pronounce it.
I find
Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa.
whenever I hear people pronounce it, they seem to pronounce it with a letter in there that doesn't appear in there.
And a lot of people, they say it different. I'm just like, well,
Tagovailoa, and then I'm hearing people saying like I'm thinking tongue. There ain't no N in tug. So
Anyway, I'm interested to see if he can stay healthy, Tua. Because he's had his injury problems coming out of college. I mean, he's just coming off hip surgery. And I think he can be exceptional. I think he can be unbelievable. Again, I hope he's trash because they're playing in my division. But he's a very, very talented quarterback who can get it done on in big moments. Left-handed thrower. It looks different. It looks hard. He throws a really nice ball, can move. And he's been playing in a pro-style offense throughout his college career. So he's coming more ready into the league than probably most people will ever be expecting him to be. But I think
under the best coach in college as well, which goes without saying.
Yeah, and I think he can push Miami's offense, and I think he can give them like a real somebody to get behind. So, and Devontae Parker always seems to catch the ball no matter what. Like, they don't really have any weapons, but all of a sudden Devontae Parker's got the ball and he's gone. So I'm interested to see how him and Tua come together and how it looks.
he was a good fantasy pick last year, actually, Manny Parker.
Yeah, he went off.
Certainly towards the second half of the season, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, anything?
No, I don't proclaim to have seen too much of Tua, so I don't really know what to expect. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around him, so I'll be keeping my eye on him, but I've got nothing professional to add to that, unfortunately. Apart from I can't pronounce his name either.
Good.
But no, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it either way.
Yeah, I completely agree with what everyone's just said. It's that hype, isn't it? it's the same thing every year with any quarterback that goes in the top 10 picks in it. It's like, can they do it in the NFL?
Yeah.
And that's when you really break it down, that is literally all it comes to. Yeah, bless you.
Sorry about that.
For me, that the thing with Tua isn't whether he can do it at the next level; it's whether he can stay healthy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that hip. Was it disconnected hip? Well, I can't even think what it was.
It was like something like that. He just got rolled. He rolled over, and somebody landed on top of him, and he just didn't get back up. And everyone
that was about one of 6 or 7 injuries, wasn't it? And it's like you say, it's that longevity, isn't it? It's not the sort of sport where you're going to have a couple of weeks where you ain't going to get it. You're going to get it.
Yeah.
Right, then moving on to number 2. Oh, God.
I don't know who's more excited about this one now, Bees or Cal.
So
I'm just going to sit out of this one and let these two go.
Yeah, I'll let these two cats go at it. Mike Evans and Tim Broody. Tim Bruce. Oh, Tom Brind. Tom.
Put some respect on his name now.
Yeah, Tom Brady and Mike Evans. Go on, Beaver. There's no fitting more way to start with you.
TB12, he's the GOAT. He is calculated. He's unbelievable. And to have a wide receiver like Mike Evans, like, it's frightening. The last time we had a receiver similar to Mike Evans was when he had Randy Moss, and we went 16-0. We lost in the Super Bowl. It was ridiculous. And the fact that, like, Brady and now has the weapons he has, and he is the greatest of them all. Like, oh my God, like, the geezer's sensational. I was fortunate enough I got to watch him play live in a game, and like, it just looks like it's effortless, and it's just, he's got all the time in the world. He's so prepared, and I feel like he's got a point to prove. He's always had this chip on his shoulder. Because he was the number 199 pick. He was 6th round. It was like, and everyone had kind of like given up. And there were 6 quarterbacks picked before him, and so he's won 6 rings to prove a point. But he's not done yet. Like, and you can see it when you listen to him talk. He's not done. He's got an ego. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's striving to be the best. And I know Carl's excited, so I'm going to let Carl carry on.
Yeah, I am massively. Obviously, there's always going to be a bit of realism in there. The fact that he's 42, and there's always going to be a little bit of doubt. But he's Tom Brady at the end of the day. And, you know, talking about Mike Evans, I think he's played 90 games since 2014, 2015. I think he's gone for 7,200 yards, scored 48 touchdowns. In 2 of those seasons, he's been injured and only played half the season. Like, his numbers are ridiculous, and that's having Jameis Winston at the helm. So
he is a baller, isn't he?
Yeah, if he can get like 60, 70% Tom Brady at his best, then he's still going to go off. And I'll be surprised if he doesn't put better numbers up than what he has done with Jameis Winston. But having said that,
because he had 100% of shit with him for the last 4 years.
Yeah, but and to be fair, in the last 2 years, you can see him getting frustrated with Jameis. Like, it's very rare that they'll talk about each other, and there was always this hype about them being a good partnership, but they were never really on the same wavelength at all, really. But having said that, with Chris Godwin and the numbers that he's putting up, I don't know. I think it's 50-50 with those two, because Chris Godwin is naughty. Like, he's another, I think, an up and coming wide receiver that's going to put up some serious numbers again this year.
Yeah, but I think
sorry, Bruce.
I think I'm going to say the same thing as what you were about to say, Liam. If not, you can obviously carry on straight after this. But my thought is, with Godwin benefits from Mike Evans. It's a similar way that I'm interested to see how Juju develops this year with Big Ben, being obviously with him being the second, going from the second guy to a number 1 guy. Obviously, that's not the same with Godwin, but Godwin's going to see more pressure this year because teams are going to be like, I ain't going to let him run off like I did last year. And he made a statement last year. So I'm interested to see how he develops. But for me, Mike Evans, he's always going to be the number 1 guy in Tampa. And they've got my boy Gronk in there as well now.
Right. I don't think there's many players that have gone the last 5 years with over 1,000 yards since they've been drafted. I think he's one of very little. So
I think it's going to kill me to compliment a Bucks player, but with Evans, the fact that he's put up the numbers he has, I know you just said it, with Jameis Winston, who you just said then he clearly got frustrated with him over the last 2 years, but he's gone about his business as as a consummate professional. And I think he's low-key gone under the radar, because when he first came out, and certainly I think last year was probably arguably the season that really, really put him on the map, where people would be like, okay, yes, Evans, you are for real, even though he was doing it 3 years prior to that anyway, probably because of the receivers that were already in the league already. But he's quietly gone about his business. He's putting up yards, putting up touchdowns all the time. He does it with no fuss. And like I said, it's killing me to compliment a Bucks player. But if I was to compliment anybody, it certainly would be Mark Evans.
Yeah, and like you said, mate, with that as well, he missed the last 5 games of the season.
Yeah,
Like, had he played those games, like he would have been the number 1 wide receiver. Well, he would have been, stat wise. To be fair, so yeah, I'm excited. This should have been at the number 1 for me anyway. Just saying.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Number 1 is Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins.
That's basically mine. Your pick, ain't it, Nick?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I'm saying it.
On that note, carry on then, lads.
I think you've only got to look. You boys might not agree with me on this, but I think Kyler Murray aesthetically looks, out of all of the young quarterbacks in the game at the minute, he looks the most promising out of all of them. He can throw a ball so aesthetically pleasing. He can run. I mean, don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson has got him this job. 100%. 100%. Russell Wilson, being as good as he is, has got Kyler Murray this gig. But he looks so good. Well. Yeah, you're right, yeah. And now he's got arguably the best wide receiver in the game to throw to, as well as he's still got Larry. Like, it's a team that's building and growing. They are building something. When we touched on it last week, they are seriously building on something. And I think he had a good season last year. It's going to be a better season this year.
I agree, mate.
It's just how far he can go.
I agree with that completely. He is kind of very similar in a sense of Russ, in terms of he can throw, he can escape the pocket, he can run. It'll be interesting to see him. I know it's O-line dependent, of course, but him to stay in the pocket more, moving forwards as the seasons go by, of course. But whilst he can run, the kid can move. He's probably one of the fastest quarterbacks I've seen in recent years, anyway. And he's thrown on the run is certainly up there with the very best. And D-Hop is an absolute steal. Absolute steal. He just doesn't drop the ball. He just does not drop the ball. And he is going to be huge, absolutely huge for Arizona next season. And that's why me and Nick, anyway, both, that's number 1 for us.
It's one of those painful admittances, isn't it, that for me anyway, that the Cardinals, I watched us play them last year, and I just remember Clowney trying to write him off, and he literally he just ran away from him. I was fuck.
Considering
what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, what?
Fortunately, when we played him last year, we sacked him so many times, but that's down to his O-line. They just didn't give him the protection, so we had to escape the pocket all the time, and we were just sacking him constantly. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they're building a project here, so they are going to get better, and it'd be interesting to see if they're going to compete in their division with the oh my god, who's, I can't remember.
Seahawks,
49ers, Seahawks, Rams.
It'll be interesting to see if they're going to compete with the 49ers.
Yeah, I think, and I think I know Beaver and Carl, you both would put Evans and Brady in there. Like, and there's 100% an argue for both, I think. But for me, it's just I just can't see the production. I don't think Evans is going to get as much ball as you all think. I don't know why. I think whereas Kyler's going to absolutely fling that ball out as long as he can, and Hopkins is going to be on it and he's going to catch it.
The reason I personally put Brady in Evans is one, and it's not because I love Brady, but
Lies.
no, genuinely.
Take your glasses off, chap.
Genuinely. The reason for me that I'm more interested in seeing Mark Evans and Tom Brady is because I don't see the Cardinals being at that next level. I see them being, they're not going to be pushing for the playoffs. I don't see it. Their O-line's not good enough. They've got a good wide receiving core. Kyler Murray, again, he's just a growing player. And we'll see what happens with there. They're building the defense again. It's questionable. They've got some good players, but they're not quite there. And they are growing, but I just don't think they're ready to be like contending for playoffs. And what I'm interested in is, like, for me, if you're contending for playoffs, that's when you know you're kind of there, and that's when I want to see Kyler and D-Hop in the playoffs or pushing for the playoffs. When the game's on the line, like, I don't want to see when you can't make the playoffs, you going off every week. What I want to see is when the playoffs are in touching distance, you need to win to get there. Is that you and the wide receiver and the quarterback are going off and they're lighting up the skies, and they're the reason that they're going to get there. And I feel like they're going to be better because of the D-Hop signing. I just don't think they're going to be at that level yet. So I think there's going to be more importance on the Brady and Evans connection than the Hopkins and Murray connection.
Do you not agree that? Sorry, Carl, you gone?
No, go, mate. It's fine.
Just out of interest in being put on another spin on it, would you be more interested? Are you more interested in seeing how Brady throws to Evans or Brady throws to Grant?
Brady throws to Evans.
Oh, really? Okay, that surprises me.
I like that
Brady throws to Evans.
Good question.
I think Gronk, he's lost a bit of size since he retired for a year. He is putting that back.
You said he's coming back as strong as ever, as good as ever, as fit as ever.
You just interrupted me. I was about to go into that.
Oh, Carl, what do you think?
I told you you look like a crack whore.
No, go on, B. Well,
he lost a bit of size, as you would from not being in football shape, but he's working back to that now. And I think you're going to get a healthy Gronk. And I think that Gronk and Brady, they already have that connection. So I've already seen that. That's why I kind of am more interested in seeing him and Mark Evans, because Mark Evans is a different kind of receiver than I've seen Brady with. He's big, he's a freak, and I'm so interested to see Brady and him. And I think Mark Evans is finally getting a quarterback that he deserves.
I agree with that.
So that's why for me, Brady and Evans over Brady and Gronk.
Mm-hmm. I think it will be as good as Evans is, don't get me wrong, but I because of the season they had last year, I think he's going to get more attention. Therefore, I think it opens the door for Godwin. I think it'll be Brady and Godwin.
Go on,
as
Carl.
opposed to Brady and Evans.
I just don't see how D-Hop's going to get the ball when Kyler Murray can't see over his O-line.
I understand.
On a serious note, I actually followed a lot of Kyler Murray before he signed up for the draft. So when everything was going on, when he was deciding whether he was going to play baseball or come over to football, so I was already quite au fait with him, and I was actually excited to watch him play, and I wasn't disappointed at all. To be fair, I think I agree. I think he's one of the better younger quarterbacks, and I'm excited to see what he can do with D-Hop and Christian Kirk as well. I think Christian Kirk's going to come on well as well. But obviously, it's just me being biased, having Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It literally is 50-50 with those two. I don't know who's going to come off with the bigger numbers. I'd expect Evans to, but then I can see where he's going to get pressure and vice versa. So I don't know. That's why I'm so excited to see what's going to happen.
It'll be interesting to see who comes up with the biggest numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm on D-Hop.
Yeah, I love D-Hop. He was my first pick. I hate it.
D-Hop's a
'cause
freak,
when he was
man.
I fucking love him. He's brilliant.
He's a freak, man.
I absolutely love him. So
I can't believe. I
always
still
happy
can't
to
believe
follow
he got
him wherever he
traded.
goes.
I think that's the biggest thing for me. Is I still can't believe D-Hop got traded.
And what they've got in the
Yeah, and some very good value.
from a
Thick.
And the
from a,
winner
a rating,
is
Chris messaged me and he was like, did you get anyone to replace D-Hop? I was like, nah. Did you got no picks?
No, you got a busted up David Johnson.
But I feel sorry for Johnson, man. Like he was unbelievable in his first 2 years.
Yeah, and then
Unbelievable.
it took away his O-line.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for they've ruined him. Absolutely ruined him. So I want him to do well. I think it's good for his career personally.
Oh, he had to leave Arizona, yeah, because they weren't utilising him like they should be.
No, but it's like we said, they're building for more of a passing game, aren't they? So
Mm-hmm. So that sums up what our new partnerships going into next year. Ones we're most excited about. Obviously, there's a couple of that we probably didn't fully agree on, but I think on a whole, we're working off the same page, aren't we?
yeah, we're
Yeah, 100%.
him shit, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Aren't we? Yeah.
Mahomes, but
I just thought that was good because I just wanted to have a row with someone. I didn't want to hold it back because Rodgers is whack. Anyway, on to the most exciting bit. We've got a new podcast name, haven't we, lads?
hey.
So obviously we put it out there that someone would come up with a name. We'd do a little bit of a giveaway, and we're staying true to our word. We did think of this name ourselves, but then someone else has come up with it, and with everything that was going on, we reiterated that we want that name. So we are going to do the giveaway still. So can I get a drum roll, please? I'm going to put the lights on. Get excited. Keep going.
I can't.
Drum roll.
Come on, Carl.
Oh, we're flashing.
There we go. There
Drum
we
roll,
go.
please. And the winner
DJ Carl.
is 4th and Inches from Mr. Anthony Bromhead.
Hey.
So you, sir, have won yourself a Atlanta Falcons cap. I am not buying it. Someone else can. I'll give them my card details, but as your rival, I'm not buying you a hat, so one of the other lads can. Beeves, I'll send you my card details over chat.
I think he'll love the first bit of this podcast then with Nick absolutely laying.
Beeves, I think it's gonna have to be you, mate.
To back it up then, after seeing when Carl, you sent through the pictures, the bunch of punts was comfortably the funniest.
The funniest.
Definitely.
So,
And I think that was from Ant as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was fully deserved. Fully deserved. I like Matty Ice, really. He's great. Top one QB. Always has been, always will be.
I think Bromhead's going to want an apology note in the hat as well, mate.
I can't fall on my sword like this. It's still shit. Still shit.
Well done, Ant Bromhead.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Well
mate.
Yeah,
done,
man,
mate.
that was awesome.
Appreciate
Cheers,
it.
Ant.
Well done, man.
And you saved us anyway, because we were just making a mess of it.
Yeah, we'll. I'll have to have a look, mate. I had a brief look yesterday. There was about 50 hats, so I don't know which one you're going to want. To be fair, yeah.
Just the cheapest one, Carl.
We'll get in touch. We'll get in touch, and we'll get his opinion on it, and we'll get in the hat that he wants.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
We will do, yeah. So, yeah, thanks again, brother. I think we're going to move on to a bit of a news roundup, aren't we? What's gone on this week? Some shit's gone down.
So, this week in the NFL, we've had Andy Dalton signed for the Cowboys. And I'm going to give the 5 points first, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about them. Andy Dalton has signed for the Cowboys. Leonard Fournette hasn't been picked up for his year option. Nor has Mitch Trubisky, which doesn't surprise anyone. The Packers, rumours are that Matt LaFleur has had enough of Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers might be on the trade block, but he might want out anyway. And number 5
Shit.
is number 5, there's
Calm yourself
rumours
down.
going round. There's rumours going around that the Patriots are going to tank the season, which means they're going to basically, they ain't bothered if they lose or win, to get the quarterback coming out of college next year, Trevor Lawrence. They're the 5 talking points from this week's news. So we're going to start with Andy Dalton.
I think it's wise to get that one out of the way because
Yeah.
Beeves, it only makes sense for you to start that. I know you've just been speaking, but we all know you love Andy Dalton, so I think it makes sense for you to start that one off.
People thought I bagged on Jameis Winston. Andy Dalton is the trashiest QB in football. The fact he's still got a job is beyond me. I have seen this guy play twice. He is the trashiest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. He is rubbish. He throws to the opposition more than anything I've ever seen. Sometimes he throws the ball and I'm genuinely there. I'm like, why? He had one of the best receivers in the league in AJ Green. And even AJ Green doesn't want to play with him because he knows Andy Dalton is trash. Absolute garbage. And now he's signed for the Cowboys, which is the funniest thing because they've now got 2 trash quarterbacks. One thinks £35 million is not enough to feed a family. Not sure what planet you're on, lad. And then Andy Dalton, he calls himself the Red Rifle, otherwise known as the Red BB gun. And there is a clip that I'm hoping Carl will be able to find of JJ Watt just ripping into him about how trash he is. Andy Dalton has never won a playoff game. He's just trash, and it had nothing to do with his organisation. It was all down to the fact he's absolutely useless. Useless.
I'm very intrigued to see if anybody's got anything to go against these remarks there. Nick, you look like a man in the know.
I'm not.
Do it.
Do it.
Right. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with your comments on Dalton because I don't think he's very good either. But I completely get it from a Cowboys point of view. This is someone that they're going to have to pay guaranteed £3 million a year, and then they've got somebody that wants 30 million quid a year. Like when you actually break
He
it
wants
down,
40 actually.
40 million. So when you actually break it down, is Dalton, if he's based on 40, is he about, what's he like, 12 times less of a player than Dak? And I don't think he is. And I think it's very wise. I understand why they've done it. And it wouldn't surprise me if Dalton had a few games and he had a better pass rating than Dak, and he just probably did more.
I guarantee they don't win them games because he throws it to the opposition because he's trash. Him and Jameis should share a fucking salary. They're both trash.
You keep Jameis out of your mouth. Jameis is taking less than Andy Dalton. Like
They should be
anyway.
sharing a salary.
No, mate. Jameis is a hero. You seen what he's doing for coronavirus? Badmouth him now. Go on, dare you?
Doesn't mean he's a good quarterback.
It means he's a good man.
I'm not disputing whether he's a good man. Andy Dalton could be a good man.
On a serious note, though, I'm
I
with
doubt
Nick.
it though.
I'm with Nick, and the reason is like your options are Andy Dalton or Cam Newton. Cam Newton isn't taking $3 million, is he?
No.
He's not taking $3 million guaranteed.
No.
So I think
Andy
again,
Dalton
it's good
has
business.
to take $3 million because nobody's
Yeah.
going to offer him more than
I
$3 million.
just think it's good business. That's
I think
all
it's
I'm
good
saying.
business. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. I think it is good business. I don't think he's a good player. He's not going to all of a sudden wake up one morning and be an absolute gun of a quarterback. But from a Cowboy standpoint,
Bless you.
I get it. I totally get it.
I think you're trying to make excuses for the fact that he's still got a job because he's trash, absolute garbage.
I think that's the biggest argument now is that it is value for money. It really is. That's what it ultimately boils
He
down
has
to,
no value.
And I mean, and if you think about it, who else have the Cowboys got a backup? I mean, I don't really know who their backup is, but he can't be that good. But they've got a recognised. Yes, he's still technically a recognised NFL quarterback, and they've got him as Dak's backup now. But what I'm interested to hear from all of his yes, Beeves, I know his pipe, is do we think that he takes over the role from Dak at any point this season.
I can't see it personally.
No.
I can't see
Not
it.
not if he signs this big deal.
No, Dak's on the franchise tag Dak. There's no way Andy Dalton takes his job. There's no way. Andy Dalton couldn't take anybody's job.
Just that.
He lost his job to a rookie last year, and that rookie was trash as well. But, oh my God, Andy Dalton is rubbish. So when they moved AJ McCarron out of Cincinnati, that was the worst mistake they made because they should have just moved Andy Dalton there and then and just be done with it. And AJ McCarron should have took the job.
I can honestly say, I can sit here and say, I would pay so much money to see the Pats go for Andy Dalton.
Oh, that would have been.
I would have
Honestly.
absolutely loved it. And I would have sat there every Sunday. You'd have been around my house and I'd just be sat there smiling at you, Beaver. Smiling. Grinning. I'd be grinning.
I was trying to bait him in the group, mate, but he weren't having none of it.
We were linked with Andy Dalton, and obviously Bill wasn't involved in these conversations.
I would have had all
Bill got involved.
pin you down, and we would have dyed your hair ginger. That's what would have happened.
Fact.
Number one,
I know you're a
it's got
strong
nothing
lad,
to do with that.
so it would have took a few of us, but you would have.
It's
had
got
ginger
nothing.
hair.
It's got nothing to do with the fact he's ginger. Nothing.
No, I know that, but obviously he's the only ginger quarterback. So if you're running around with the Patriots like hoodies, with ginger
Carson
hair,
Wentz is relatively ginger.
yeah, but he's not Andy Dalton ginger, is he?
He's
Don't
orange.
even put them in the same sentence. Don't even do Carson Wentz like that. That's disgusting. Oh my God! How dare you link him to Andy Dalton? That's a disgrace. Andy Dalton's trash.
Beaver,
Garbage.
even with these extremely red goggles on that you just pure anger for Andy Dalton, even you've got to admit, when you weigh it up against Dak, it's not bad business.
No, Dak is better than Andy Dalton.
I'm intrigued.
But is he 12 times better than even what? I don't even know what it is. What's 40?
it's about that.
Mate.
12 times, mate.
Mate, one of them
13.
skateboards.
It's 13.
Mate,
It's more than 13 times. Is he
Mate.
13 times less than the player?
Mate, one of them skateboards beyond Carl is better than Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I know that. They're supreme.
But I'm just telling you now, it ain't happening. Andy Dalton's trash. Andy Dalton's not beating anyone out for a job, and he should just rot on the bench. And if the fact he's still getting paid is a joke, he should be like a ball boy or something.
I bloody hope he plays, and I hope he really. I love him to do well. I'd love it. I would.
If we beat them, love it.
Yeah, I'd love it if we beat them. Love it.
Come on now, let's get serious. None of you actually believe Andy Dalton's any good.
No, I'm not saying that.
Not once suggested that he's good.
No, but you're trying to defend Andy Dalton getting a job out of business sense. Cam Newton's won more games and has been to the bigger stage more times than Andy Dalton has.
You're like,
but they don't want to pay that money for Cam. That's the point. They've only got this amount of money. Who can we get? And they chose Andy Dalton. So
I'm gonna let you have your opinion, gentlemen. It's trash. Andy Dalton's trash. But I'm gonna let you keep your opinion. And we'll move on to Leonard Fournette not getting picked up for his last year. Now I'm baffled by this decision by Jacksonville. Baffled.
I'm baffled by every decision from Jacksonville over the last 2 years. To be fair. Other than them drafting Leonard Fournette, like every decision they've made after that has been horrendous.
Picking up Nick Foles was good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I was baffled by that. I was.
Why?
Because they paid Nick Foles this money, right? And then they went out and they didn't buy any receipt. They didn't get going on any receivers. They already had a stacked defense. So, and then Fournette was injured, and I'm thinking to myself, why? And they were starting to rebuild. They was already talking about rebuilding the year after they didn't get in the Super Bowl. So all I was going for me was, what's the point of paying Nick Foles that money? And then Nick Foles got injured in the first game. Then that Nick Foles came back, started playing again, and they went back to Minshew anyway. So realistically, that was the worst money they've ever spent to then give him away.
I got the decision that they brought him in. I'm not saying they utilised him very well.
All the
I mean,
finances.
Jacksonville make strange decisions, and letting
They do.
Fournette go. Letting Fournette go doesn't make any sense because they're like, oh, we're going to rebuild. We'll be able to pick some up in the draft. I mean, they're just a terrible organisation. They're terribly ran.
Having
And
said
it's just
that, he hasn't had a year like his rookie year
no, but
because
I
he has
think
been quite injury prone, hasn't he, since his rookie year?
I think the O line's been terrible though, and
I still think it's a shit this year. I do.
I think there'll be a massive market for Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
And I think he'll get a contract comfortably anywhere else. He probably won't get paid big, but he'll get a contract, and he'll get a good job as a starting running back. So for me, it doesn't make any sense.
Who do you see him?
The Eagles would be a smart choice. I could also see him going to the Bears. For me, they'd be the two teams. Eagles crying for a big back, crying out for one. Pardon me. Eagles are crying out for a big back, and I think that the Bears are also crying for a big back as well because they've got Tariq Cohen, who's really good out of the backfield and stuff like that. But I feel like they could use it like a ball carrier.
David Montgomery, I think this is the year for him personally. I can see him. I think he did all right to a sense last year. I mean, nowhere near as good as I hoped he did because I fucking picked him in my team fucking last year. But he had flashes last year, and I can see him doing something. So I personally wouldn't agree with Chicago. Definitely, I agree with Philadelphia. 100% agree with that, but not necessarily Chicago. Maybe not.
And then,
Chicago had a weak season anyway, didn't they, last year? They were just fucking shit, weren't they? Last year.
which leads us on to our next point. Which leads on to our next point of Trubisky not getting picked up. Now that doesn't surprise me at all because he's also trash. Like him, Andy Dalton, and Jameis Winston, they came out the same pile. They are just trash. And Trubisky, I'm being funny. That Bears defense was unbelievable, and somehow they snuck into the playoffs, and then they just got found out because their offense isn't good enough. Like defense wins you championships, but your offense has got to be still good. You've still got to be able to score. And Trubisky, he's just terrible. I mean, he took the game that summed it up last year for me was the game where they were in a position to win the game, and they could have just ran the ball a couple of times, and the coach decided to get them to take a knee instead. So they could kick the field goal and they missed the field goal.
Weren't that against the Packers?
Oh, I don't remember who it was against, but I know they took a knee.
If it was the Packers, that's even worse because I know how much they hate each other as well.
They took a knee to literally go, oh yeah, we'll just kick a field goal, and the geezer missed the field goal anyway.
I just remember Jason Clues ranting about it on Facebook, but I don't remember who it was against.
Oh. Man, and if you don't trust your starting quarterback to hand the ball off properly, there ain't no way you're getting a job. There ain't you are done.
So
and the worst thing about
it's such a weird team.
There was so much hype around him though when he first came out.
No, there wasn't. No, only the Bears thought he was good.
That's what I mean. They had hype around him.
They moved up to go and get him, and everybody in the draft just went, "Why'd they pick him? Why did they pick him? Why did they move up to pick him?"
He was in the same draft class as Pat Mahomes, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They could have got him instead. Not that but
no, but there wasn't
Can you
Mahomes.
imagine being the person that was like, "We need to draft up this guy"? What about Pat? Nah. Trust me.
No, but
don't sleep on Mitch.
What you got to think of, Doc? What you got to think of
is he can't still have a job, surely.
No, yeah.
No, but what you got to think about that is, it's not the Mahomes one. Obviously, it looks like the Mahomes one now, but Mahomes wasn't really the guy coming out of college.
You're right. Yeah.
The one in that draft was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Was Deshaun Watson, and somebody should have took Deshaun Watson instead of moving up to get Trubisky.
So you're saying that Dalton, Trubisky, and James all come out of the same pile. If you're the Cowboys and you got a choice of those three, who'd you pick? You have to take one. You have to.
Have to.
Oh, I'll take Jameis.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I'll take Jameis.
100%
Because
Jameis.
he's been the most productive. Yes, he turns the ball over a lot, but he's still, yeah.
I wonder why they didn't. I wonder why they didn't. Because I don't even think they're putting up. I don't think they even spoke to him.
Mate, there's no point trying to figure Jerry Jones out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
True.
Like,
It's quite quick though, isn't it? It's been quite quick that they were
the
like
Dalton deal.
Yeah. So that must have been bubbling. I reckon that's been bubbling along for a bit.
Must have been, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
rumored.
no, because
was it yesterday?
No, but what you got to remember was he got released, didn't he? The other day, he only got released a couple of days ago, and he Dalton did.
Still though, to act on it that quick when you're still trying to probably arguably negotiate your current quarterback's contract.
Yeah. Well, no, because Dak Prescott is signed for the next year because of the franchise tag.
But aren't they still going over figures?
No, I doubt it. I can see Dak Prescott not having a job at the end of this year.
Doesn't deserve one.
I mean, I'm not going to bag. I don't think he's that bad, but I don't think he's that good.
So therefore, if you don't think he'll have a job at the end of the year,
he's mediocre, isn't he?
Do you not think that Dalton has a chance to take over from him?
Not a chance. Not a chance. So I'm pretty sure the franchise tag's about 23 million, something like that. They're paying him 23 million for a year, basically. They're gonna use Dak Prescott, who's got him to the playoffs twice. 3 times. Got him to the playoffs 3 times.
They've all got 2 Pro Bowls as well. He has.
Yeah, there's no way they're gonna. There's no way they're gonna give the job up to anyone else, unless it goes really bad or Dak gets injured, and even then, Andy Dalton will be worse.
What are you gonna do when the Red Rifle pings a 70-yard bomb to CD Lamb?
You can't throw that far.
Jesus Christ!
Brilliant.
What is it?
Man looks so stubborn about this.
I know. What's the next bit we got room for? Give me some
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is being linked to a trade because Matt LaFleur has apparently had enough of him.
Just can't see it.
What's Carl's opinion?
I think Matt LaFleur's opinion is exactly the same as mine, personally. And I don't blame him one little bit. I absolutely agree. Get him gone. I
think Matt LaFleur has come in and he's tried to make a point, and they were a game away from the playoffs last year. They're a game away from the Super Bowl last year. They were a better team last year, and Matt LaFleur was a big part of that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is exceptional. I think he's fucking brilliant.
Did you see that Aaron Rodgers' stats went down when Matt LaFleur came in from when
but that's because
the year before.
But that's because they were trying to make them a team. He's trying to make it more about the running game and the team and stuff like that. But also, you got to remember, Devontae Adams was injured for about 8 games. He missed a big chunk of the season, which is a massive thing to lose your number 1 receiver.
It was only a few games, wasn't it? I don't think it was 8.
He missed about 8 games, something like that, maybe 6. He missed a lot of time.
Fair enough.
And
every year, there is some news about Aaron Rodgers, isn't there?
Oh,
yeah, every year. It's every year. There's something about him.
He's a bit of a drama queen.
He's
a bit of a drama queen, but he's super talented. And I think his drama queen comes from the fact that he sees these other quarterbacks and he sees them winning, and he thinks, "Well, was that not me? Because they're not better than me." I think that
they are better than him.
I think part of it is Aaron Rodgers is exceptional, but I do think that there is a chance they could trade him, if not this year, maybe next, because they did pick up Jordan Love in the draft in the first round.
Who's got the cap space to cover Aaron Rodgers?
Realistically,
that's gonna go for him. That's the thing. I can't see him being traded unless he's going to take a massive pay cut, which is quite clearly
could next year.
I've heard rumours of that's right. Him going next year when Breeze retires and he's taking over at New Orleans.
I've seen that he's favourite to go to the Patriots. I've seen that he's favourite to go to the Patriots.
I've seen that one as well.
But Aaron Rodgers, like the reason I would think that this is a possibility of him not going maybe this year but next is Aaron Rodgers, when he first got signed for Green Bay, Brett Favre was the quarterback. They traded Brett Favre to move Aaron Rodgers in after I think he sat for 3 years though.
Exact same age.
Yeah, 36, but he sat for 3 years. Aaron Rodgers did behind Brett Favre. So
Maybe that's why Love's in. That's why they wanted Love.
I don't know though, because
either.
for me, you don't waste a first round pick on a 3 year on somebody you're going to use in 3 years. You don't waste the first round pick on that.
What's crazy?
If you can get the sort of figures out that you did from Rodgers, you do then.
The thing is, though, with Rodgers, he's at the moment he's got 4 years left on his contract, 3 of which is guaranteed. They're not going to trade him and be left with dead money for the next 3 years. Therefore, they've got, and realistically, is
the bulk of his contracts this year. The bulk of his contracts.
I can't remember what the breakdown is, but it all
50 million.
Years, they're still all 3 years are still heavily stacked with a lot of guaranteed.
He's picking up 50 million guaranteed this year.
Fuck me, he ain't worth 50 million this year.
So 50 million guaranteed this year it is. So look, the bulk of it is going to be this year. So I think he'll play for this year, and then I think they'll consider moving him because what they'll flip
dead cap space for 2 years.
It is, yeah, but they could flip him. They could flip him and get something out of it. Like so, for them, it could be a win-win situation. And they've only got field offers for him because somebody will give up a pretty penny for him as well. And you might be able to swindle somebody into giving him, and you might be able to make your team better by getting rid of him. But for me, I wouldn't ever trade Aaron Rodgers. You don't trade your franchise quarterback.
I think personally, it'll go one of 2 ways this year. He'll throw his dummy out the pram, and that'll be it. Or we'll see a completely different Aaron Rodgers, and he will go off with a point to prove. It's one of 2 ways. It's 2 extremes, and I generally think it'll be one of the 2, personally.
I think there's a chance
he'll go out with a point to prove, or he just like, you know what, fuck you all, and he'll do an average at best job.
I think there's a chance he gets hurt, and Love comes in. They still do okay, and they move on from Aaron Rodgers because they know that he's not. Maybe they'd feel that they can keep the winning mentality with Love as quarterback. But I can't see.
Just taking it in.
I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts.
He's not a top 5 quarterback. I think they should move on from him personally. I think he's regressing more than Tom Brady, and I expected Tom Brady to regress more because of his age and the way people talk about them. I put them in the same ilk, and I just think over the last few years he's been overrated personally. I'm not with him at all. Like obviously when he first come over.
For me, the comparison between him and Brady is wrong. It should be the comparison between him and Breeze, if they're going to compare. Because at the end of the day, like when it comes to the big moments, you can't compare somebody that's won 1 ring to 6 rings. You just can't. It's not right.
And that's fine, but that's the level of quarterback he gets hyped up to be.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm saying he's overrated, and I'm not.
I think he's top 5 in the league comfortably, and I think he's
fucking no.
But no, I do agree that some people might feel he's overrated, but Aaron Rodgers is exceptional. Is.
And to our last segment.
The last bit of news is that there's rumours going around that the Patriots are apparently going to look to tank this year to pick up Trevor Lawrence in the draft next year. Now, me personally, being a Patriots fan, I think it's a load of rubbish. I think it's utter bollocks. The thing that everyone's got to remember is Bill Belichick. He's going into a year without Tom Brady. No, Bill Belichick had never had a winning season as a coach before Tom Brady. So now he has a point to prove, and he has to go and prove a point this year. I think there's a lot of pressure on Belichick this year to go out there and win without Brady to show, because Belichick wanted to trade Tom Brady 3 years ago to San Francisco when we traded Garoppolo. But Robert Kraft stepped in and said, no, get rid of Garoppolo, keep Tom Brady. And we happened to win a couple of Super Bowls because of that. So it worked out for the best. But him and Belichick have had this horrible relationship now for a couple of years where it's too big a moment for Belichick to throw the towel in and push for a quarterback. But on the other side of it is we don't really know what Stidham's going to offer. I'm interested to see what he did. He wasn't. He was pretty talented. He's a pretty talented quarterback coming out of Auburn. I actually got to watch him play in person live, which I enjoyed, and he was really good in that game. And I'm interested to see how he develops this year, especially he sat a year under Tom Brady. And I'm interested to see how he takes forward as a quarterback and whether he can be a franchise quarterback. There is another theory about the Patriots is that Belichick's played it quite smart. That all the teams that needed a QB have pretty much got a QB now. The only one you probably look at is probably Jacksonville. They're probably one of the only. You got Teddy Bridgewater. That's a franchise quarterback.
No,
He's a franchise quarterback.
nah.
He was drafted as a franchise quarterback. He was a franchise quarterback until he got injured. He played for the New Orleans Saints last year. Went 6-0. I believe that you've got a good quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. He's better than Cam Newton as well.
He's a stopgap. He's a stopgap.
But for me, this pressure on Belichick this year is too great for him to tank the season.
I agree. He doesn't strike me as someone that would deliberately take a dive, so to speak, like swallows. I don't think he's got it in him to do that. But I could be wrong. And I think but then on the other hand, if he was that hell bent on proving a point this season, he could have traded up to take a QB this season. He could have if he really wanted to. So I think I just think he's gonna take it as it is, and whatever happens this year. Personally, I can't see him taking the season.
I think that'll be Ross. And I'm joking. I did that on purpose.
I know he did it, trying to follow through.
I can't even keep a straight face. No, I don't think you'll be anywhere near as good as you were last year, or the year before. So I definitely think you're going to have a losing record. I definitely think you'll have a losing record. I said this the other day. Anything between 4-12 to 7-9, anything to that kind of record. And I still don't believe Stidham will be the guy. But that being said, I 100% agree with you both on that. Bill is not the type of person to just give up. So I think, and I would put them in the top 3 favourite for Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville, and I've been seeing it linked with a lot with us as well, partly because of our expected record next year. But I still think you guys will find a way to get him next year. You'll use all the picks that you've accumulated, and you will get him as your quarterback next year, 100%. As much as it kills me because I'm a Clemson fan and I would not want to see him go to fucking New England.
I'm not convinced that Belichick moves up to take a quarterback in the first round. I'm just not convinced. It's not the way it works. He doesn't like. That's why he hasn't made a move this year. Because if he thought that somebody was good enough this year to be a franchise quarterback, I think he'd have made the move.
Yeah, but do you not think that he's not done it this year with a view to getting Trevor Lawrence next year? But like you said, still not tanking the season, just doing what he can to get him. Do you know what I mean? Like Liam said.
I'm not convinced.
I agree with you that, Carl. I'm sorry, Beers, to cut you off, but I do agree with that because Belichick loves to, as you know, Beers, he loves to play with his picks. He loves to build capital. Again, I think they're going to win. I think you've already got I think it's 10 picks already for next year. Then you're going to get I can't even say the word, but compensatory picks next year as well. You're going to end up with 15, if not more, picks. And how many of them you're going to turn so many of them around? You can literally give 4 or 5 of those picks for a first round pick, which could potentially, depending on where you pick in the first round, could get you that quarterback. Whether it is going to be Trevor Lawrence or whether it's going to be Justin Fields. Whether it's one of those two. I do generally think you will take a quarterback in the first round next year. That's my opinion.
You say about that we've accumulated all these picks. We had 14 picks in this year's draft, including the first rounder, which we flipped the first rounder for a second rounder, and we still had we had 14 picks still in the draft, and we didn't even think about a quarterback. We did pick up a quarterback in an undrafted quarterback, but obviously I've never seen him play, so I can't comment on that. But I don't believe Belichick moves for a quarterback, and I do not believe we tank.
No,
Too much pressure on Belichick.
No.
Belichick has to get a winning season this year.
Do you think he
think
will?
he'll be winning season?
You don't, do you? Be honest. You
I think we'll finish 9-7.
Carl?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
I think they're going to run a pretty simple offense with Stidham just managing, not turning the ball over, and just keeping it clean. They'll back the run game. They'll push the run up. They'll push a run, and the defense will be outstanding.
Nick?
I think that's the saving grace. I just can't see them not having a winning season, whether Brady's there or not. And no matter how close it is, I just can't see them not having a winning season.
My argument though is that we said it earlier. Is yes, defenses do win you tournaments and Super Bowls, and the Patriots defense, yes, they've lost a few pieces, but it is still going to be strong next year. But other than Edelman, I don't see you being able to score that much. In Kill, Harry, will he be good? We don't know, because he missed so much of last year. We don't know. Sony Michel, as good as he was last year, is he going to be able to carry the team? I don't know. Other than Edelman, I struggle to see where you're going to put up points. Personally, from an offensive point of view, it will be a defense that keeps you in a lot of games. And with that being said, that's why I still think you'll have a losing record. Now, I'm going to be realistic and not anti-Patriot glasses for a change, but I think you'll go whether it's 7-9 or 8-8. I reckon that's probably about realistic.
Fair enough.
I think at worst will be 9-7.
Nick,
at worst,
you've been quiet throughout all this. I'm intrigued to see your thoughts.
I was very much intrigued listening to it. I don't think Bill has got any ounce of thought process of tanking the season in the slightest. Wouldn't surprise me if they got to a championship. Really wouldn't. It's just Bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if Stidham was an absolute gun. It wouldn't surprise me if one of these late picks that you picked would turn out to be an absolute gun. It's
for them to try.
It's horrible to admit, but it's the Patriots, isn't it? It's a winning. It's a winning organisation.
Yeah,
they don't settle for losing.
It's ingrained all the way down, isn't it?
And as much as we laugh and say, "Oh, Stidham's going to be shit. You've lost Brady." Yeah. Stidham's probably going to be.
It'll be sufficient.
It'll be up there. Yeah, and even if not, he's.
I don't think he'll like.
And this is the thing that I think. If he's coming to do a transition, which he's either, and I don't know what it is, and because I don't follow the Pats that much, Beaver, you'll know. I don't know whether he has come in genuinely as a transition or he has come in as this genuinely could be the guy.
I think it's a good vote of confidence for him. The fact that they could have moved up and got a QB, the whole entire draft in general, and the fact they didn't shows that the confidence they have in Stidham.
Yeah,
they were never moving up to get a QB in this draft. They'd already said that they had no interest in a QB, and that's what I'd seen that a lot. To be fair, that they were backing Stidham, and I'm not surprised they're going to go with Stidham. It's pretty much the Patriot way. Like, we go with what we got and next man up.
Do you think it's also a bit of an ego thing? Like, they don't want to be seen to be. They want to prove we're not a one-man team. They want to prove that they're not going to be perceived as caving by going for a QB. So they're like, well, we go with what we've got. Do you think?
No, because No, not
In a
all.
sense.
Because what you got to think of is the fact that Brady's 42. Brady was 42 anyway. So if Brady had stayed with New England, we were going to have to plan for his success anyway.
Mhm.
For his successor, sorry.
Yeah, and that's exactly what my thought process is. They were thinking Brady's not going to last forever. So this is either they're pushing the button on we're transitioning, or they're pushing the button on we're starting with this fresh outlook. This is the guy we're going to mold him to what we want to be. I'm trying to put it. I'd bet a lot of money that they will not pick Trevor Lawrence next year because he just doesn't fit the bill. He does not fit the bill of what he had to do. They don't pick like that style of player. It's just not them, is it? It's not them. They bomb people off if they want too much money.
With that being said, I hope you're right, Nick, because hopefully then he can stay in Carolina.
The pick that the Patriots made, the first pick of the draft that the Patriots had this year was in the second round. We picked a kid from a Div 2 school. That sums up the Patriots. That's how you know we're not going to push. We're not going to tank a season. That's how you know we're not going to go and push for the likes of Trevor Lawrence.
And you know what? Every other single team, I bet you, as soon as you pick them, was like, who the fuck's this guy? Who they just picked?
What have we missed?
Yeah. Like, what have we missed? Like 100%.
Their question is why is Bill Belichick picking somebody from a Div 2 school?
What have they seen? Like, and you can pretty much guarantee at least like 50% of them were like, get me the stats. I need to see this guy's stats from like the thing. Because that's just what they're like. And like I said, who knows? I'd love them to fail. Love it. But I just don't think they will. Minimum of 11 wins. That's genuinely what I think. It's genuinely what I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
11.
And Miami will be one of the others that they lose to.
Oh,
until we'll go off.
Definitely.
I'm not even debating that. We lose to Miami all the time. I'm the only one that believes we're going to lose to Miami. I said we lose to Miami last year.
You did.
First game of the season, wasn't it? Or was that the year before?
Last game. No, a couple of years ago we lost the first game to Miami. Last year we lost the last game of the season, which made us play Tennessee, and we got beat by Tennessee.
Well, it's been an eventful one this evening.
A lot of anger, Carl. A lot of anger.
I know. I'm not going to apologise for any of mine.
Hopefully we can find a more happy place next week.
Definitely.
I also think the viewers have really got an insight into us a bit more this week as well.
Yeah, because I wanted us to get our personalities out.
That has definitely shone through this week.
Yeah, like I didn't want any of us to kind of shy away from having a dig at each other because we do it in real life, so why can't we do it on here?
Yeah, exactly.
The world.
But yeah,
exactly.
It's been absolutely, really enjoyed this week. Really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, we got the new name, which I'm really excited about because we can start putting everything out properly now. As I said, the audio will drop on Spotify. I will drop the link with the YouTube video as well. And then as soon as the iTunes ones are available, I'll drop those. And we'll get in touch with you as soon as this goes up and you've seen it, and we'll go from there. But I'll have this up. Sunday today? Tuesday. Anyone got anything else to add before getting to bed?
Nah, mate. Pleasure as always, boys. And Bromed, congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Awesome,
and as always, we look forward to next week's. And as we say every week now, if any of you want to hear anything, got any questions, don't ever hesitate to ask us on the YouTube channel, comments, whatever it is you want to do. Hit us up, and we're more than happy to answer your questions throughout the podcast.
I want to try and
give us a
get
follow.
A poll out there. Out of the three in the bin out of the quarterbacks that Beaver likes, who would people pick? I'm interested to see what people think.
Out of Dalton, Winston, and
Winston,
Trubisky. Yeah, cool.
Be interested to see. I just hope everyone just looks through that patch and thinks I'm just picking Dalton to piss him off.
I mean, everybody that we know is going to do that.
Yes. So, yeah. But yeah, I can finally say this. Right, guys, it's been 4th and inches. Nothing to do with my penis. I'm out. We'll see you next week. Peace. So, guys, that was episode 3 of the podcast of what is now called 4th and Inches, thanks to Mr. Anthony Bromhead. So, congratulations, mate. We'll get in touch. Let us know which help you want. We'll get that ordered and get that out to you as soon as possible. We're really, really enjoying producing and recording these podcasts at the moment. So, really appreciate any likes on the video and subscription to the channel as well, because what it does is just boosts us up the rankings and helps us produce better content. Gives us something to work towards as well, to be able to give you guys more in return in terms of giveaways and stuff. You'll notice that we're starting to segment the videos so we can actually upload more content and shorter videos as well as the full podcast, because I know it's difficult for people to sit there and be able to listen to 2.5 hours and watch 2.5 hours. So thank you to everyone for those recommendations. We are doing that. As I've also mentioned as well, we've had approval from Spotify to upload the podcast to Spotify, so we'll try and segment those as well as uploading the full podcast. We're waiting for approval from iTunes. Hopefully that will be sorted in the next couple of weeks. And we've also got approval from Anchor FM as well. So I'll list the links for those in the description box. Drop a comment to see if there's any more content you want to see in terms of learning about the sport. Because we're going to do a weekly episode, a weekly segment on each position, and then after that let us know what you want to see, and I'll drop those links to those videos in the playlists as well, so you'll have QB, wide receiver, moving on through each position, just as a kind of ongoing video collaboration sort of thing through the playlists. But other than that, thank you for the support on the past few videos. It's been great. It's helped us out a lot. We didn't expect that many people to sit there and watch that sort of length of time of video, but again, really appreciate it from me and all the lads. So it's been your boy Carey Breezy, one part of 4th and Inches. Congratulations again, and see you soon. Bye.